From the extravagant Super Bowl games that don't really yield much at the end of the day, to the very repetitive All-Star Dunk Contest, here are the most overhyped sporting events, starting with the one that has a pretty weird choosing the winner system, the Heisman Trophy.
The 2022 Heisman Trophy winner. A lot of people think this is the most prestigious individual honor in all of sport.
The worst thing about the Heisman Trophy is that people who get paid to watch college football almost always pick the wrong winner. Just like with the president, the campaigning starts as soon as the last election is over. This award gets almost as much ink and airtime as the Oscars. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal. And after all that, the best man almost never wins.
That's from when I went to Georgia on my visits and him being my host, which is kind of funny that I'm up here with him now.
Let alone do well at the next level. And while we're at it, let's just call it what it is. The award is given to the best quarterback or running back from a really big school. Who cares who wins and who doesn't? It just gives us a chance to find out who's gonna fail in the NFL. I mean, let's be honest. When was the last time a winner of the Heisman Trophy did well in the NFL? I think it was 1995 with Eddie George.
Failed geometry. And I was in danger of being held back a year because my grades were so poor. I must have had like a 1.2 or 3 GPA. It was horrific.
And 1988 with Barry Sanders before that.
That's how I played the game, but I probably also, you can add in there, I just didn't have any rhythm as well. So.
Would you rather be a running back for the Bengals or the...
Other than that, it's the who is the most overrated player trophy. This isn't the worst thing in the world though, because there are some systems that have taken every nerve in my body to understand. Yep, I'm talking about the BCS College Bowl system. I think we can agree, they've taken all of the fun and excitement out of a hangover-filled New Year's Day. Now there are meaningless games and bowls with teams that no one really cares about. Who wants to really watch Toilet.com Bowl? On top of this, figuring out the BCS is harder than figuring out how well quarterbacks pass. If there isn't a good playoff system, the regular season of Division 1A college football is as useful as Dennis Miller on Monday Night Football. Once a team loses its first game, it can only win the national championship if it has a strong schedule. And if it loses twice, they'll just bid on a bowl that doesn't matter. So basically, the BCS is useless. It makes things worse than they were before. Why don't we just hold playoff games in the bowls and switch which bowl hosts the national championship game? That way the website galleryfurniture.com bowl might mean something if it were the first game in the playoffs. Then comes an event that literally even people who aren't into sports know about, but could not care less. And that is the infamous Super Bowl. Let's be clear about something. You don't like the Super Bowl as much as you think you do, because I'm pretty sure we've all been through that phase in life when people around us made such a big deal out of this that we thought, wow, okay, maybe I should get into this too. The thing is, I like the idea of the Super Bowl.
Thompson, 6'5", and they target him again. Great break up there by Ty.
I mean, it's apparently supposed to be the best game in the best league in the best sport ever made. But is it? A shocking number of NFL championship games are like bad BCS championship games.
Eagles go 2 tight ends. Hurts to throw it again. Pressure coming, stands in, fires, and it's caught.
Teams often get blown out, and the most exciting part of the game is the weeks leading up to the blowout. To put it another way, the Super Bowl is the big summer sports event in the United States. Most of the time, it brings in more money and attention than the product's quality deserves. For example, in the past, there have been times when we've actually had one of the worst Super Bowl blowouts ever. But even then, it's turned out to be the most watched TV show in US history. Speaking of most watched, we have another event in this list in the same category, and that's the NBA All-Star Dunk Contest.
You're gonna jump over him. No, I'm not jumping over him.
The dunk contest used to be the best part of the party, but in recent years, it's quickly gone downhill. This used to be a contest people used in order to see which player really was crazily talented, but now all of that has turned into a big old meh. So many things about it make it unnecessarily popular.
Get it here.
This contest is essentially an all-star lineup made up of total unknowns. As a casual NBA fan, I don't mean to offend that big group of nobodies who take part sometimes, but I can tell you that even casual NBA fans did not know who those guys were. Stunts that go too far. Yes, Blake Griffin's dunk over a car in 2011 was pretty impressive, but don't even try to beat his performance unless you can do something like dunk over a house. Dunks are already bad by themselves, and unless you have something really new to offer, you're basically just gonna be desensitizing everyone to the same old dunks that were supposed to be really beautiful and fun to look at before. That's why this can only be done with the help of stars. I mean, I'd rather see LeBron's dunk face on a semi-creative jam than some nobody from the Bobcats jump over a donkey and slam it. So there's that. But that's not even the most overhyped event either. The Indianapolis 500. This event, which used to be the best in auto racing, is now just a joke. No longer do the best drivers race there, and when they do, they win by a wide margin. Yeesh, that's when you know things are that bad. If it weren't for its historical significance, it wouldn't be so overrated today. So much TV time is spent on an event that, in reality, it's not even close to as important as its sister, the Brickyard 400 on the NASCAR circuit. Only when the best drivers in the world come back to the Indy 500 will it get back to where it used to be. Until then, it's just another event that is just slowly becoming dull. On the other hand, I'll tell you what's not dull, because people have hyped it up to the point of insanity. It's heavyweight boxing. These days, the build-up to boxing matches is so crazy that it's literally just borderline ridiculous. The expensive advertising campaign, the hype, the fake fights at press conferences, and the list just goes on. But the truth about boxing is very different from what is said about it in these promotions and advertisements. Even if you don't pay a lot of money, you will still pay a lot for a seat with no view. And the level of boxing these days is not even close to what it used to be. Instead, you should go see a UFC fight while it's still good. Even though the sports marketing is getting worse, it still gives you a lot more value, thrills, and spills. At the end of the day, some people can argue that it's understandable to hype up a match when it can make or break someone's career. But what about matches that aren't even the final deal, like mock drafts? This is the one where I could be wrong, because a lot of people have different opinions on it, but I've never understood why the draft process is so interesting. I know it's important because the draft is a big part of how teams will do in the future and how people will feel about the next season, but none of it is that interesting. All year long, there are combines, pro days, and other types of scouting that go into mock drafts. These are predictions by so-called experts about which teams will pick which players. Mock drafts are also heavily based on intangibles and rumors, and none of them are even close to being right. Once something unexpected happens, everything falls apart. It's a pointless effort in my opinion. It might be fun for some fans, but you've got to admit it seems like this is only for the fans and doesn't serve any other purpose. And that's all for the most overhyped sporting events. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.